How's it going, everybody? Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I'm Josh Horowitz, and today on Happy, Sad, Confused, we're live at the 92nd Street Y with John David Washington. Are you ready, guys? Yes, you're ready. This audience here in New York City has just seen a fantastic film, a remarkable adaptation of one of August Wilson's seminal works, The Piano Lesson. It's currently on Netflix, but they got a special treat to see it on the big screen, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. It's a fantastic special piece of work about family and legacy, and it is led by this fantastic performance by the actor I'm about to bring out, John David, but it's also anchored by this crazy ensemble of actors that, by the way, won a Gotham Award just yesterday. So, yeah. You know John David Washington's work. He's been killing it in recent years in BlacKkKlansman, in Tenet. He killed it in this part on Broadway. If you got a chance to see him there, he was amazing, and it's so thrilling to see him bring it to the big screen alongside his brother Malcolm making his feature film directing debut. Unbelievable. We're going to get into that and a lot of other things tonight. Please give a warm welcome to John David Washington, everybody.
He's good, ain't he? He's good.
All right, buddy.
Right.
Congratulations again, man.
Thank you, thank you.
A lot to celebrate over Thanksgiving holidays in the Washington household, I would think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was. I know the greens and the mac and cheese tasted a little better this year for some reason. I think that's the shout out, Dear Mama shout out that Malcolm had. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about. I mean, we're going to talk a lot about this journey. It's been a hell of a road here. You brought this work to the stage, and it was a big moment for you. I want to start with the stage version of this first before we get to the film, because I got a chance to see it on stage. I'm sure some people here in the audience saw it. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Thank you.
And that was a big moment for you. I know. You felt. I've heard you talk about this. Why was it such a make or break moment? You felt for you to bring this character to life on the stage?
There's a couple of reasons, an apple pie worth of reasons. It's he's one of the American great playwrights, August Wilson, for one. We're at the Barrymore, on stage, on Broadway. My debut, we got Sam Jackson, who originated the role of Boy Willie in 1987, then ended up, and then ended up being Charles Dutton's understudy when they brought it to Broadway. Charles Dutton, I think he went on to win a Tony, and he's been public about, how he felt about that, Sam. And so I just, I felt like I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let LaTanya Jackson down, who was the first African-American woman to direct an August Wilson play on Broadway. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure in that. And for me, it was the character, Boy Willie, the words I got to say, and what August Wilson wrote. I mean, it was the only time I believe that the character had to come to me, and that's harder because I got my technical stuff, I got all my backstory and all my stuff, but all I had to do was let the character come to me, and that was tough. And so to do that every night was quite a thrill and a great challenge.
What do you mean by that? When you say the character comes to you, are you talking about the words are there? Like the work is there. You're working with some of the best writing ever made for the stage. Is it's just about not chasing a result and just letting it come to you in a way? Like what do you, when you say you have to let the work come to you, the role come to you, what are you talking about?
So when you read and listen to August Wilson, there's just the musicality's there. It's just such a rhythm of the African American experience, right? So that can seem kind of easy to play. Like I know this guy, I know this rhythm. But when you start to dissect what his words are, like when he talks about I went out and killed me a cat, and that's when I discovered the power of death. See, a nigga that ain't afraid to die is the worst kind of nigga for the white man. So like thinking about that, what that really means in 1936, and connecting that to even what it means now, was shocking. The connection, and unfortunate that the times haven't changed that much, and I had that kind of responsibility. So I didn't have to go necessarily. What does that mean? I know exactly what it means if you just listen to and bring all your issues and all your upbringing with those lines.
So is August Wilson taught in the house? Like, do you remember a time that you didn't know August Wilson in the Washington household?
Actually, not really. I first time I saw, I was really made aware of August Wilson was, I mean, he's kind of always been around, and I know the piano lesson painting, but and I know August Wilson has said once he just liked the way those two words look together. I mean, that's the way his mind worked. Like, it was not about necessarily the sound or what it means. He just liked the words they look good together. But I got to see Two Trains Running in Atlanta, and then I saw Fences, and I was hooked. And then when I started acting, I picked up 7 guitars, and I just like one day I have to do this on stage.
So were you in kind of the back of your brain building to this over a number of years? You're obviously accumulating these great credits. You're working with Spike and Chris Nolan, and you're showing off your chops with the best in the business. Is there like a voice in the back of your brain like, that's great, and yeah, I'm leveling up, but like at some point I'm gonna have to try it on stage and see what I can do?
Honestly, I thought it was gonna be Shakespeare first. You know, I really wanted to do Taming of the Shrew, and when I started looking at this, I realized, no, this is my rites of passage. Now, so like at the time when I started studying, I studied at HB Studios. Rochelle Oliver, may she rest in peace. She was my teacher there, and that's when I came into August Wilson like as a actor. And I always thought like I'd do this one day, maybe, but like later in life, I'll be the Doker character, you know, something like that. So it was more about a Shakespeare thing. And then when I found this to be a reality of what I can really do now, I was like, oh my God, no, this is it. My life is just in front of me right now. And I felt a lot of pressure about that because of some of the figures you mentioned. I felt like I've been so blessed and had great opportunities to do these works, these films, these incredible, massive films. But people didn't really understand or maybe get who I was yet as an actor. I thought maybe, and you shouldn't think like this, but I did, honestly, maybe the people will get me. Maybe people will understand my artistry if I can nail it, you know.
I mean, you have an athlete's mentality. We know that. I know that from our past conversations.
Sorry about that.
No, if you want a good drinking game, every time John David makes an athletic metaphor, take a shot. It's just part of you, part of your DNA, right?
Yes, can't deny it.
Is fear of failure a motivator? Is that something that drives you?
Dang, see, I thought you said we weren't going to get too deep, man.
No, I didn't. He asked me that backstage, and I didn't comment. I didn't say anything.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. I try. It's bad fuel, but it definitely is. And I thought because of my football experience, I was told to just keep working hard and you'll get your shot, and I never did. So I've seen people get cut. You know, the last week of the season, I thought I was going to be cut any day. So I don't care what number I am on the call sheet. I'm always like, man, is today the day? Am I going to get replaced? And so I thought, well, with this work, I can't be replaced. No, I won't have that logic or that kind of frame of mind anymore if I can get this right. So that was part of the motivation. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about bringing this work from stage to screen. I mean, as remarkable as it is to see you deliver this performance, I gotta say, the most shocking thing for me is Malcolm. Malcolm, your brother, I mean, I'd never seen any of his work. This is his feature film debut. It's such an accomplished piece of work, and we're seeing the dawn of a great filmmaker.
Thank you, yeah.
Like, it's really amazing. Talk to me a little bit, how does this come together? Like, I mean, we know, look, your dad has talked about wanting to create the cycle on the big screen, yeah. Produce all of these works. So does, like, Malcolm raise his hand and be like, hey, what about me? Like, piano lesson, this could be a good fit? Like, how did it kind of develop?
I mean, I wasn't aware of his origin story to this project until this press tour. And apparently, my mom told my pops that Malcolm had some ideas. I guess they had a conversation, and he just wanted to, write a script for it. And then he did like a sizzle reel. I saw that. I was like, oh yeah. Honestly though, I wanted, if I'd have known what I was doing to play, he wanted to do it, I'd have been like, yeah, let's go. I'm just a fan of his. The way he understands films and breaks films down. I saw his senior thesis. He's directed a music video that was fantastic. So we, the family, have been wanting him to do something for a long time now, ever since he graduated. Like, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go. And he said this one. I was like, well, really? This is you want to start with this one? Okay.
Start here?
Yeah, like, Michael, you don't want to do a little cute, little short, little go get him project, but okay. And I'm like, I was right there with him. But I was excited. Then we talked, and he showed me his lookbook and all that. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't need to see none of that. I'm like, just go. Let's just shoot, man. I'm ready for you to do this. I don't need you to pitch me or anything. You know what I mean? I wanted to go. I wanted to go for him.
The thing, and I'm sure you guys are getting this from the early moments of our conversation that I've discovered about you in our conversations over the years, and I gather this from hearing Malcolm talk, you live and breathe this stuff. These guys love movies so damn much. Like,
it's true, yeah.
All you do is talk movies,
yeah.
my sense.
Yeah.
So this must just be like fantasy camp, like working with your brother, going back, it must recall like childhood. Like, we talked about movies in our bedrooms growing up, and now we get to play with the toys and do this.
No, it's so crazy, just this whole run, seeing him talk about his film, talking about his process, and my process. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, my G. What is your process, young man? But because of our reverence, because of how much we respect, we grew up on this stuff, on movies. I got lost in movies. I remember getting mad at my mother. She took the twins, Malcolm and his twin sister, to see the movie Life. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. And they were like mad young. And I couldn't watch rated R movies until I got older, but they got to watch that. And she took them to the movie theater. I was so upset because Ma, they're too young to be. I had to wait, but she was like, no, but they had to see it. It's a classic, instant classic. I was like, yeah. But that's kind of like our life. I remember seeing like Mad Dog and Glory,
yep.
remember?
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro and Uma Thurman, like, I was watching it with them. I was like, I'm not supposed to be watching some of these scenes, but you know what I'm saying, if you've seen the movie, but I was just connected to it. I knew I think it might be a little weird, but I knew every line to the movie Glory. Yeah. Every line. I had the blue suit. I had the rifle. That's all I wanted to do. So this is, talking about Thanksgiving, this is what we do. We talk film all the time.
What's the most underrated performance of Denzel Washington? What doesn't get, he gets a lot of credit, but there's some hidden gems in there.
I won't say the most underrated, but I feel like he didn't get enough credit for, he played a lawyer, Beckett, in Philadelphia. Like, you're right. I like Jonathan Demme with and he got his Jonathan Demme close-ups, and he delivered that speech like the big speech he has in the courtroom, general public's hatred, our loathing, our fear of homosexuals, yeah. And that here and that featured affected our client, and I was like, man, and the cue in the score. I don't know, like, you can't have the Tom Hanks performance without his.
100%.
I love that film.
I name-checked that when I got a chance to talk to Mr. Hanks recently, and I think people don't remember also what that movie was at the time.
Oh, so he's on the other side of the LGBTQ plus discussion, right? But he's a black lawyer in Philadelphia dealing with his own stuff, and then how he learns and evolves as a person, as a black man in Philadelphia, fighting with using the law to fight for equal rights. It was ahead of its time.
And not to mention, we're not going to only talk about Philadelphia, I promise, but just to say it, because I'm a film nerd like you, Demme coming off of Silence of the Lambs, your dad coming off of Malcolm X, Hanks winning Oscars left and right, everybody using their powers to tell a story like that at that time. It's the best example of using mainstream movie making, I think.
And it's movies like that I'm trying to chase. That say something. If I could be a part of what I've been able, in my opinion, I've been able to be a part of some films that are saying something. Whether they connect with people or not, I don't think they can deny that these filmmakers I've gotten to work with have a point of view, and when you can get lost in those stories as a moviegoer, and that's what I live for.
I want to talk a little bit more about. I cited the ensemble in this, and many of them are from the Broadway production, and then you have folks like Corey Hawkins, Danielle Deadwyler, come on. Amazing, all amazing. How does that shake up the dynamic? Obviously, there are a lot of changes made because, again, Malcolm makes this feel like a movie, which is to his credit. But also Danielle and Corey, they bring their own flavor to this. Did it shake you up in a good way?
It's like we added, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade to the Heatles or something.
I told you sports references. There we go. Do a shot.
You teed it up for me. Corey was coming off of his Tony-nominated performance in Top Dog, Underdog. He was incredible. I got to see him during previews. He's one of my favorite actors, and I think about Mr. Potts, who was in the play, but the kind of actor that he is, he's done all the August Wilson plays. And then Danielle coming in And y'all saw what it is. You've seen her until you see the versatility there. So you just ups your game. You get excited when you get these kind of performers, and what they bring energetically, what they bring technically, and their physicality, and their pure joy and love for the art. And I know it's cliche to say, but I really feel that when people are doing it, not because they have to, because they want to, or maybe they have to survive. Maybe they have to because it makes them whole, it makes them feel alive. I can relate to that.
I almost think of the scene with you and Sam and Ray singing, everyone's singing at the table. It's
Berta.
It's like an action set piece in the middle of the film. It's such a centerpiece of the movie. Can you give me a little insight into what it was like to shoot that?
Well, as you saw the play, we took that from the play. And but it took on a different meaning, being in the space, in the house, embracing the quieter moments, and really feeling the stomps, not doing it for the audience, but doing it for ourselves. Sharing that traumatic experience, Parchment Farm, the prison system, which was basically another version of slavery legally. A lot of men went through that system that didn't deserve it, and it's a very dark, dark time for a lot of them. And that kind of trauma bonding, different generations of it, is such a powerful thing. And they're drinking and they're sort of laughing, making light of the dark times, but then they start singing the pain. And it doesn't matter where you're from, what color you are, you can feel that, I think. And well, that's the hope. I shouldn't presume, but
we can feel it. Yeah, we can say that.
So, but honestly, we felt it more or differently, I should say, during the film, and then filming it, and then when we sat down and just left it quiet. That's when it really seeped in. That's when I felt really connected to all my ancestors in that moment who've gone through that system or gone through slavery and just have survived the South.
Yeah. You talked about the linkages of the past through the great Samuel L. Jackson, who originated this role. It's such like an atypical role for Sam, which is like really exciting to see. We're used to kind of seeing him as kind of like the loudest one in the room, and he's the watcher, he's the viewer, he's kind of silent through a lot and conveys so much because he is Samuel L. Jackson and he can. I also know, he's been on this stage before, and I've talked to him about theater versus film, and he has very specific views.
What did he share with you?
He said to me, because I asked him about kind of like, the old adage of like, do you play it differently on stage during film? Are you worried the camera? He threw all that out. He said, there's no difference. Just do it. Yeah. That's what he said to me. Okay. And he also said, and I'd love to hear your comment on this, he doesn't deliver variations, or at least he told me. He delivers what he wants to deliver to the director. He's not going to do 12 different versions because he doesn't want to be screwed in the edit, basically, by giving the wrong version of a scene. Does that jibe at all with what he said, or is he lying to me?
Wow, I guess I saw a little something different. What I saw even more, what was even more powerful, seeing it come together, are his subtleties, which you really get to see in the film. And to me, that speaks to his versatility. I'm like, where is his Academy Award at this point? Like when you see, like one of the best roles I've ever seen, one of the best characters I've ever seen was him in Django. He was insane what he was doing. Yeah. And then you can cut to this. You know what I mean? It's like that's the kind of dexterity I'm talking about. That's the kind, and that takes experience, longevity, and honestly, what I caught most of it was at his age, what he's accomplished. He still freaking cares.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and he's lived with this play. He knows everybody's lines. He's lived with this play for 30 plus years. He's like, this is very personal. He's talked about how he relapsed because of the experience of having to be the understudy when he originated the role. So you're talking about pressure for me. But I saw the love, and once I got his respect, I was off to the races, both he and Michael Potts. But yeah, he's very professional, and he delivers the way he delivers. I saw some variations though. I saw some things he was doing different. He's got like a 15-page monologue explaining the piano and our family. He delivered that thing every night. And that's Samuel Jackson. He didn't have to do that. He was doing it off camera, same energy, same thing. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. When the actors sometimes they get the tripping, they get the ego going, they act like they don't want to be a part of the company. I think about people, figures like him. If he's good enough to do it, then you have no excuse.
Yeah, you can look to your dad too. He's going to be on Othello on Broadway.
Right.
Late 60s. Like he's done it all. He doesn't need to do more.
Exactly.
But he's still
about
pushing.
the work. Yeah.
All right. We alluded to kind of like the background, but I want to go back a little bit. So it sounds like you, in the back of your head, whether you knew it or not, you knew this was going to be your path eventually, maybe. Like, was your act of rebellion denying that and going the athletic route? Like, put me in your head a little bit of why you put off pursuing acting for as long as you did.
Okay, let me see.
Let's get the couch out.
My goodness. You know, my dad got really popular, man. Like he's the man. Like Malcolm X hit and my life changed. You know, I remember him bringing home a trumpet when he was practicing for Mo Better Blues. I remember when he dyed his hair red when he was getting ready for these roles, and I just used to love it. I just loved, you know, he walked me around New York spitting Richard III lines because he was doing it. I saw him with the tights and the mullet, you know, thinking like that was a magic trick. He don't speak like that at the house, and look at him now. That's, you know what I mean? So that to me what was always about, but as he got bigger, you know, I felt like society or like my world changed and my relationship to it. People changed how they were treating me. So I felt this need to protect myself and felt a need to find my identity. So I found it through sports. So I thought maybe I'd take a back seat to the art or to acting because I want them to know me for something else. I want them to just know me. I didn't realize that you can know me through the art, through the work. But I needed to go through what I did football-wise first. But I think stuff started to change after Malcolm X.
Is it true that your mom kind of was the one that kind of knew like you would eventually get to where you're at? Like that she saw in you your propensity towards the arts more than your dad even did?
Well, I definitely told her first. I didn't tell my dad until I booked Ballers. But she, you know, we were running lines, my mom and I. She's like an acting coach in a way. But
you still run lines with your mom, don't you?
To this day, every script I get that I know I'm gonna do, we're running lines, and she's giving me the harshest notes. She gave me so many notes for the play too. Like, I'm thinking like we're just gonna go to dinner and like talk about the week and how I did. She saw it like 5 times that week, by the way, and she's like, "Okay, so thoughts, John David? You want to order the ribs? Thoughts?" Like, what?
Let me bring out my script with some notes here.
Wait, you were there on Saturday, Mom? Wait, when did you? So I mean, I love it. I mean, she cares deeply. In a way, I felt like I was representing her too. Like I talking about pressure, because you know she has her master's in the arts. She was on off Broadway, Jerry's Girls. I always joke with her. She ended up having me and missed the run of Jerry's Girls. I know that's the look. So
your fault.
So how about this? She didn't tell me that I'm leaving for Miami to go shoot Ballers to start my life. And she tells me this story and says, "All right, go. Good luck." I was like, "Wait, what? You had me instead? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do everything I can. I'm gonna tell The Rock I'm doing this for you." You know? I was like, but this is what I think about, like her mastery in her craft and what it means to be on stage and what it means to be an actor. That right, that privilege. So yeah, I include her in all of it because of that. A lot of that is the reason.
So you make the shift after suffering an injury. If I could snap my fingers now and you could be an NFL Hall of Famer instead of an actor, would you take that bargain?
What? You talk about Hall of Fame? No, I'm actor all day, every day.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah,
I'm just making sure. Making sure the dream is real, that the passion is real.
And shout out to all the Hall of Famers. That's great. And I love football. I needed football for sure. But this is, I've never felt more alive.
So did you feel, when you step into that first audition, which was for Ballers, I believe.
Sheila Jaffe, yeah.
Do you feel alive, petrified when you're walking in the room? Do you feel the baggage of like, they know who I am, they know whose son I am? Like, do you feel that hanging over you at the time?
Well, I was pretty drugged up because I had torn my Achilles. I was in a boot, so I was on some pain medication. So I guess that just,
right.
I'm like, you
probably
know,
for the best.
You want me to stand here, there? You know? I'm Ricky Jarrett. Let's do this. You know,
he's so free with his
So
body.
loose.
What's he do?
I was loose, and so I guess thank God, you know. But honestly, I didn't care because I felt like I was somewhat rock bottom because I needed. I know there was open calls. A lot of football players being called up to do it. So I thought I had a way. The plan wasn't to get the job anyway. The plan was to get comfortable in auditioning, and then move here and go where I went to HB Studios and study. It just so happened that I was doing pretty good and just kept getting called back. But I didn't think about that because I didn't have time to, because I wanted it. It was either now or never. So,
is the learning curve huge by the time you end your run on Ballers? Do you feel like you're a different actor from that first day on set?
Absolutely. I was a different actor from the pilot because we shot the pilot. Then when I went to school, then I was doing plays and I was studying and doing monologues and this and that. So going to hundreds of auditions, getting told no. So I had a day where I played like 6 different characters in one day in 4 different locations, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what the New York experience is supposed to be. That's what the hustle and bustle was. I loved it. I've never felt more alive. Even though I was getting told no in most of these auditions, I didn't care because I'm like, it's not even about getting told yes. It's about, well, what did I work out today? What did I find today in that audition? You know, in that workout. So that's what I loved about it. So yeah, different actor from then to now for sure.
This is a little bit of a tangent, but you mentioned New York. I'm just curious, because you grew up in LA, but it sounds like New York is in your roots, in your family's roots as well. Is that fair to say?
I love it here. I mean, I think about my mom, just her hustling, you know, in the 70s, and my dad hustling, like on, off Broadway, off Negro Broadway. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like Sam would talk about that all the time too. And it was interesting being on stage in 2022 with, you know, we got Corey Hawkins got nominated, Yaya got nominated, Sam got nominated, Stephen Henderson got nominated. So like all these African-American actors that were just getting recognized for their work, I felt like in a way, I felt a part of that. We're all on stage at the same time, and I likened it to like when they were coming up in the early 80s. And you know, I don't think I can get that experience anywhere else. So I love taking the subway. I love running my lines because I remember my dad running lines, walking me all around New York. So I do the same thing.
It is funny because like you see those scenes in the piano lesson, and you're seeing different generations of great black actors.
Yeah,
you're seeing the passing of the baton like happening in front of you.
You can't help but to feel that, and I felt so supported by Mr. Potts. I mean, my goodness, his resume speaks for itself. And another one, I think that I'm trying to scream like, you guys, he's one of the greats. Hello. And so getting their feedback and getting their support was great for me. I needed it.
So talking about quintessential New Yorkers, let's talk about Spike Lee, which is what an opportunity, what a great film. Finally got him his way long overdue Oscar for Black Klansman.
Yes.
Amazing. So when you know officially, when Spike says, you know, you're my guy, that's got to be a moment.
Yeah, it's a moment, but he doesn't say it like that.
Give me your Spike Lee. How does he say
it? Let me see if I can do it. John David, this your number? I was like, yeah, what's up? So, by the way, I never hear from him, so I'm like, what the? Yeah, I got a book. Where are you? I'm like, I'm in Ohio. I'm shooting a movie. All right, I'm going to send you this book. All right, bet. Click. So I get the book, Black Klansman. I read it. He light pitched it, but I read it and I'm like, I can't believe this is real. This is a real story. This really happened. Yeah, you like it? I love it. Bet. See you this summer. Click. That's you're the guy. That's his version of it. And we kind of just started rolling from there. Like we just started talking about it. It's so funny. Spike is so unique, man. Like being on the Spike Lee set too was so encouraging as an actor. I've never seen so many black folks on a set before, like on every department, you know. And I was important for me to see in my first like lead, to see in the kind of leader he is, and the kind of, that's also passing the torch down and showing, you know, my brother was, he was his assistant. He worked on, I think She's Gotta Have It, the TV series. So it's like a rites of passage as well. It's like HBCU for Hollywood, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah, so like, the Spike experience is unique unto itself.
I think we have a clip of Black Klansman, hopefully. Let's fingers crossed. We're going to show a little bit of Black Klansman. Adam Driver, an amazing cast. Can we roll that if we have it? Schooling Adam Driver, showing him how it's done.
It was so amazing working with Spike too. He really let you like go off the cuff.
Yeah.
Like you can. And what I was so amazed at was what he kept in the edit. Some things, the behavior. Sometimes I didn't know the camera was rolling. I might be doing a warm up or something, and he's using it, and he uses it in the film. Like doesn't make grammatical sense. That was all Adam. Like that was great. You know, I love that. Even like when he's like, say it, get it, let it flow. All that stuff was just going off the cuff, just flowing, and he uses it. And to me, it's just encouraging as an actor when you know you're doing something and they like it, and they show you that they like it when they use it in the edit.
Yeah, well, that segues well into Christopher Nolan, who I know you contributed. You don't think of Christopher Nolan as be like, you know, improvise this one, but you have some choice moments in Tenet that you actually contributed. Talk to me a little bit about, okay, so you get again this crazy, amazing honor opportunity. Not many people get to be the protagonist, literally, in a Chris Nolan movie. Does he deliver a script? Is it a conversation? How does it go down?
Yeah, I was told to be at his house at a certain time, and we're going to talk about something. That was it.
That feels like a lot of information for a Chris Nolan meeting, to be honest. That's like,
I guess so, yeah. But like, in my naivete, I don't know. I was in there like, maybe he's doing research for something else and he just wants to like learn about, what I'm doing. Maybe I don't know. It didn't feel like this was for a movie because we didn't talk about anything specific. We're talking. I mean, movie specific. We talked about movies and we talked about like how I love the movie, like movies. We talked about our love for films and just life and sports and stuff like that. So after the meeting, I was like, and I'll say this too, I was 30 minutes late. I know. I was 30 minutes late to the meeting. I was like,
Pauletta would not be happy with
me. So I'm like running up to the gate, like sweating profusely. I'm like, this is it, my life is over. And Emma greets me at the door, his wife, producing partner, and she's just laughing. And I think she could see how panicked I was, and she saw like how sincere I was. Like, I don't do this. I'm not even scared about me not getting a job. I'm scared about Pauletta. She finds out that I was late. Like, I'm just letting her down. It was more about that. And but we end up staying 2.5 hours. And then after that, I got the call saying, "Will you be the protagonist?" Yeah,
good moment. That's a good phone call.
It was really cool. I went crazy. We had like 3 dinners. Like it was like a Super Bowl. So talking about Hall of Fame, I felt like I made the Hall of Fame.
Totally. So you read the script. Do you pretend like you understand every single thing in the script, or do you say, "What the hell"? I mean, you have a mind that operates on a whole nother level. Explain this to me, because it's a complex movie. Let's be real. Like,
absolutely. Well, you got that, and I'm just sitting in his office too. I'm in Christopher Nolan's office reading a script of his. What is my life? I was about to go. I thought I was gonna do another season of Ballers. Like, I know this was gonna happen. Like, so yeah, I didn't understand that shit. Like, it took about 3+ hours to read it. But I really did sincerely understand there's a feeling to it that I did get, which he talks about. Don't try to understand it, feel it. And I was understanding a way into the character. The fact that there's not a lot written about him, I kind of liked it. We can create together. And he kind of left that to me. He really trusted me with that. And I really love him for it because he didn't have to. That's Christopher Nolan. He has his way. I'm ready to be actor for hire. Yes, sir, no, sir, I'll stand here. But it was quite the opposite. He wanted me to use my instincts.
Okay, so because I know I can always talk movies with you, and we were basically doing this backstage, tell me, what are you inspired by nowadays? Movies you've seen, filmmakers, actors, what's inspiring you as a creative right now?
I love Cassavetes, like Faces. I was watching opening night a couple weeks ago, and there's just how he captures performance. It feels like there's such a freestyle to the performers, but yet it's you never know. Sometimes it's contained, sometimes they let it loose. The way he captures the intimacy. I've been on a Menace to Society kick lately as well. What the Hughes brothers did, and kind of them introducing a lot of new talent. What he did with Chris Tucker, and what was in The Dead Presidents, like how he was like getting your hair blown off is something different, like all that. I just love that.
Was Cassavetes brought up when you're doing Malcolm and Marie a little bit?
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I was watching Faces a lot then for that because I just was excited about possibly having that style of working. And I just and really I've been on this Jonathan Demme kick as well as of late.
Who were
But like I think about Jack Nicholson, right? For example, I was watching Jumanji not too long ago and think about the great Robin Williams, how he can jump into any genre. He can do it all. Serial killer, Miss Doubtfire. I was
gonna say 1 Hour Photo. People sleep on that one.
Right, exactly. Or even the Christopher
Insomnia.
Yeah. And that's the kind of that's something very aspirational to be able to make you laugh and cry, maybe in the same movie.
I'm very curious because the IMDb, which never lies, has no upcoming projects for John David Washington. What's cooking, my friend? Something's cooking. Tell me.
I got nothing to report right now, sir.
What
I haven't discussed piano lesson, and thank you for coming out tonight. What are you trying to do? You said you're gonna.
I consider you a friend and a colleague. I want to know what's going on.
It's all good, all good.
What kind of experiences are you chasing, though? Not even being literal, like a specific project, but like, I don't know, are you chasing a kind of a feeling, a kind of an experience you haven't experienced on a film set?
Yeah, yes, there's some collaborators I'd like to get out there with. There's some stories loosely based. I like Matthew Henson. I would love to explore, no pun intended. or I had this idea of the first African American NFL owner, what that would be like, but like Succession style. Just different. I don't know. There's like what would my version of Taxi Driver be like?
Yeah.
What would that look like? So I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of filmmakers I would love to work with and explore. Definitely want to go back to stage as well. I want to do Taming of the Shrew, play Petruchio.
That's on the list. What's best football movie ever? What gets it right?
Man, I gotta say, Any Given Sunday was insane. It was more like the whole movie felt like somebody that was concussed. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. It's not linear storytelling. It was like dreamy. It was folky. I don't know. It was insane, man. I love that film. They got it right. The program also got it right in a scary way. Like they're fixing some of that stuff in collegiate ball, but they got that right. And I love Friday Night Lights as well. Peter Berg. Yeah.
You told
the Blues though. That's right there too. I don't want your life like that. James Vanderbeek. Come on now.
Disturbingly good imitation. I did not expect that coming out of your mouth. You told me once you're a big Batman guy. Dream Batman character? Are you Batman? Do you want to play Batman or a villain?
We got a great Batman right now, Rob Pat.
Buddy,
no disrespect. Yeah. But if there was a Joker from Compton or something, or South Side of Gotham, South Side of Chicago, I would explore.
Were you a Marvel DC kid growing up?
I mean, Tim Burton's Batman was like what it was all about, and then obviously Chris Nolan took what he did with it. But I loved Batman. I had the toys. I had the Batmobile. I didn't know why, but I just loved Michelle Pfeiffer, her outfit.
Great costuming.
The costuming was on point. She was really a character. Yeah, shout out to Michelle.
I'm with you. I skipped school to see Batman on opening day, the Tim Burton one. I did. And here I am. It worked out. It's fine.
Both of us.
Now, did Dad tip you off that Ryan Coogler's writing a Black Panther role for him?
I'm not gonna. Listen. He's on. I love like what he's doing right now, promoting the film and promoting Gladiator. I don't know where that came from. At least that's what I'm gonna say on the stage, okay? But I do know he's not gonna retire. We don't want him. I know I don't want him to retire. We don't want him to retire. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is it an aspiration to act with him? Like, is that something that's on the list?
The right thing. The right thing. I don't know. I might be a little too intimidated. I don't know. Let me think about it.
You can handle it. Pauletta, I don't know if you can handle.
Let's go. Let's go. I did a film called The Creator, and I wanted her to. There's a
great movie.
Thank you. And I didn't bring it to Gareth, but because I didn't have the stones. But I wanted her to play there's a psychiatrist in the film, and there's a great scene that was written, and I kind of wanted her to do that. But I know she wasn't traveling either. She wasn't gonna come to Asia anyway, even if we asked. So, because it was during COVID still. So, but I definitely want to do something with her.
Amazing. Okay, so some audience questions for you. Mark wants to know the biggest lesson in sports that you use in your acting to this day.
When you overthink, that's when you get hurt. So like if you're on the field, you gotta, because you've done the preparation, you studied film, you've practiced, you know it, your body knows it. So just react to the defense. Because if you think you're gonna get stuck and you get hurt, literally you'll break something, somebody will hurt you. And acting the truth will set you free. So if you stop thinking about what you've studied and this technique that you've had and what you've put into, you gotta let it go. At least that's when I'm at my best. And it's almost like when people might say they connected to something I did, like if they even say something like, I just loved your energy, or I love that because they're not necessarily seeing the technical work and the hours I put in. They just caught the vibe, they caught a feeling. And that's what it's about, and that means I wasn't thinking.
You kind of teased this already, but any plans to go back to Broadway? It sounds like that's very much on the list.
Yes, yeah.
Some singing in this. Could you do a musical?
Whoa.
Let's not go crazy.
No.
I overstepped. I apologize. Your audition goes now. Does this film have a common theme that August Wilson portrayed in his other works? If so, what resonates with you? So yeah, I guess in the scheme of all his works, what recurs? What do you resonate with on a personal level?
The haunting relationship the African American man has in this country. The paradoxical relationship some of us can all relate to when it comes to spirituality. A man that believes, Malcolm X once said, white is a mentality. Common said, a white man's yes is a black maybe. So August Wilson wrote, ain't no difference in me and the white man. And that everyday struggle and that everyday confidence that you need to get through, I think is throughout his works, and it taught me a lot, for sure.
Is it, you obviously, I assume you never met August before he passed. Is it helpful to think about the man, think about, I don't know, his life when you're, I mean, you've been digging into this material for a couple of years now. This is
2019.
This is in your bones. So it's his entire work and life must, I don't know, consume you a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like Michael Potts said it the best, like, these words will never leave you. Like, I'm gonna have one of these monologues in my soul the rest of my life. And I am so grateful that people are getting to see it on a broad scale, you know, that people are talking about him. You know, I think that's important for artists like me, like myself, the people that look like us, that it gets to the masses. That's what he wanted. You know, he did an interview. They did the TV movie of this in the 90s. In his interview, he said he loved that they're doing this, and the hope was for him to have all his work seen, throughout the country and the entire world. And thank goodness to Netflix, that's possible, and people are able to see it and access it and talk about it.
I mean, you must have felt that even and we were slightly in COVID times when you were doing the show, but like, hopefully a more diverse audience than usual attended the piano lesson, seeing them at the stage door, et cetera, to see that you're exposing works to folks that don't often get to see theater.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter. What I love about his work is the universality of it. You don't have to be an African American to get it. You can understand family squabbles. You can understand arguments in different kind of love and what love language is. You know, there was this dude in Telluride. There was a married couple, this white couple, and the man. It was a wife and it was a husband and wife and their son. And he says to me, well, they're first like, I loved it, we loved it, we loved it. And the father just jumps out there and says, yeah, your character, he reminded me of Trump. I was like, whoa. It's high altitude, so I couldn't breathe. Like, what? And then I got the story, I didn't know what to say. And then his wife was like, I totally disagree. I'm on your side. And they start to get to argue. No, but honey, I mean this and that. No, you're an idiot. Like, they started going at it, and the son was just quiet. And then they kind of stopped, and I was like, what do you think? And he said, I get both sides. I get the Bernice side, and I get Boy Willie's side. But the fact is that it was personal to them. You know, they got in a heated discussion in front of me. Like, that's what I'm hoping that you can get from the works, that you feel passionate about it. If you connected to it or didn't, that you felt something. And never been called Trump before. So it's the first time for everything, I guess.
You hear that? He wants you guys fighting on the way home about this movie. Argue as much as possible. One more question from the audience. When you started working on this role, was there a line or lines that was your hook into the character? What were some of your favorite lines to perform?
On stage, I got this huge laugh every time when my sister's telling me to go out there and sell them, and I'm like, we waiting till the people get up. But I would it's different in the movie, but on stage, he was about to explode. He was like his sister, he was just fed up with his sister, that sibling thing, he's about to have an aneurysm. And I was just like, yeah, we waiting till the people get up. And I just started going in, and the crowd would go crazy. We'd have to stop a little, we have to give it time before they settle down. And I used to love that. That was a great feeling. But one of these hooks, it was powerful. What he said? He said, see, a nigga that ain't afraid to die is the worst kind of nigga for the white man. I love that line. I'm thinking about my grandfather who, this is what I love about acting, by the way, if you don't mind, that you can bring all of yourself. That doesn't mean it's your best self, all of that, just your best self. It's your worst parts too. But you have to be, my grandfather was always polite. He was always doing the right thing, said the right thing. But that line, I know he felt. I know my grandma felt that line. I know, my ancestors feel this way. And August Wilson wrote it, and we get to say it and express it. So that line meant so much to me because it's connected me to my family.
Is it true? I've heard you mention, I believe your uncle who passed, Uncle Woodson.
Uncle Woodson, yeah.
He was on your mind when you were approaching the role?
No doubt. No doubt. My Uncle Woodson, who he was a country man. He loved Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful. So when I was a kid, I have to sit there and watch with my grandparents, and he lived right across the way. Come over, and they start discussing what happened in that episode, and I can't believe she kissed him, and da-da-da. It's like crazy. I mean, they've always been about storytelling. This country has ever had a little stutter. I dedicated this role to both he and my grandparents. In fact, I went to visit Newton, North Carolina, my family there, and I got like hours of footage of my auntie, my mom telling stories about the house they were made to move out of when they integrated the schools. My grandfather was a teacher, a principal, and he became a custodian once they integrated the schools. And they had to downsize houses. She got really emotional. It's hard for her to go back there. And I carried that stuff. I carried that with me. No, because like it's and I get to use it in the words. These are plenty of words and opportunities that August is writing that I get to express my mother's pain, my uncle's pain, all of that transition that they had in North Carolina. I get to talk about. I get to use that. So that's what I love about the arts, and that's what I love about August Wilson. So I used a lot of that for me.
I mean, this is obviously a joyful time because you're sharing this in the biggest possible platform. Everyone around the world is now able to see this. But is there a bittersweetness? Again, you've been living with this role for 5 years. This is goodbye to Boy Willie, presumably, but not goodbye to August Wilson. I think you'll return.
Boy Willie is never gonna leave me. Never gonna leave me. And you know, people, if they revisit it and they walk up to me on the subway, because I take the subway, then it's worth it. It's all worth it. But it's never gonna leave me. I am ready to maybe do something a little lighter, okay? Maybe put on a cape. I don't know, but no. But like it's never like Mr. Potts said. This stuff never leaves you. And hopefully I can do the Doka role one day.
All right, we're going to end with this. The happy, sad, confused, profoundly random questions for you, John David. Dogs or cats? Where do you stand?
I trust dogs. Dogs, they can be spoiled sometimes. I think I trust a cat.
Wow, you've met the wrong dogs.
No, it's gonna be controversial. I think I trust a cat.
Okay.
Because dogs, they get free room and board. You feed them, and then sometimes they might bark, sometimes they don't.
Right.
At the a neighbor or somebody robbery. But cats, I trust it because there's like an understanding. Like, I ain't gonna mess with you, you ain't gonna mess with me, but we gonna be cool.
Okay, I get it.
I guess that's a tough question.
What do you collect, if anything?
I used to have these sports figures. Like I got when I was a kid, I have actually I got a Randall Cunningham action figure. I got a Herschel Walker action figure, a Sunman action figure. I still got them on display. Yeah, and the Ninja Turtles too, the original.
All the real life figures that are great.
Can't believe I just told you that.
What's the wallpaper on your phone?
My grandfather and my grandmother, Denzel the First and Lennis Washington. Yeah. It's funny, actually. I did a film called Amsterdam, and I wanted my hair to be just like that. That's what I was going for, and I just kept it on there. So.
Last actor you were mistaken for?
Barney? No, I don't know. I don't really.
Okay.
It's one of those if they see me, they're like, I think they might move on. Or in New York, they just give you the.
Right.
Yeah. I love that.
The ultimate compliment.
That's great. That's for real though.
Yeah.
Like if you're out on the block or on this train somewhere, they just hit you with one of those. I'm like, yeah.
What's the worst note a director has ever given you?
Man, I'm not gonna say that out loud. I've got some terrible ones though.
You don't have to name names.
You might. No, I'm not. No,
Okay,
I'm not giving that up. Well, no, I'll tell you one that was offensive. There was a note that said, "Can you be bigger? Can you be louder?" Which I think translated as blacker at the time, and that shit was whack as hell. I hated that, but that was a bad one. I got a couple other bad ones. That was a pretty bad one though.
Yeah,
because he wasn't specific about it. Like I almost wanted to be like, well, "What do you mean?" You know, but I didn't. I figured something out.
Yeah. I think Andrew Rannells on the stage similarly said, director said, "Can you be less gay?"
Damn.
It's like, yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah. And finally, in honor of happy, sad, confused, an actor who always makes you happy. You see them on screen. You're happy.
Denzel Washington. It's a fact. That's comfort food.
Movie that makes you sad.
Up.
Yep.
That one gets me. That was pretty sad. There's a couple out there though. Dances with Wolves. I get in my feelings. I love that movie.
Music kicks in. Then.
Oh my God, that score!
Score's amazing.
Well, when he had to go back and get his journal, and then the crew was like, "Where is he? We don't know." Then they get the crew to go after him. That's such a good feeling. I love that. I love that scene.
And finally, a food that makes you confused.
A food that makes me confused.
It's your controversial take. What don't you? You see it on
What
the menu?
do you mean by confused? Like,
well, meaning like you see it on a menu. Like, why do people eat this? I don't get it. Like, what? I mean,
mushrooms.
me too. I hate mushrooms.
I can't do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the texture, I don't get it. I tried them fried, I've tried them boiled, baked, put them in some cheese, put some cheese on top of it, around it, through it. The cheese doesn't work. Lowry seasoning salt doesn't work.
That's a bad sign when coating it with cheese still won't make something good.
Or Lowry seasoning salt, brother. Like, it doesn't work.
Our most important lesson of the night, don't eat mushrooms, folks. No. This is such a special piece of work. Congratulations, buddy.
Josh.
As you guys can tell, spread the good word of the piano lesson. This guy's the real deal. I'm such a fan. He's such a good dude. Give it up one more time for John David Washington, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.